Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Nikhilesh Satyavarapu, one-stop destination for learning RPA business analyst and manager. So today we have one of our industry experts and my friend Ritika Raj. So we are going to discuss one interesting topic about RPA managers. Could be technical, non-technical, functional, what it is. We will ask Ritika and we will get into it. So before that, I would like to give quick introduction about Ritika. So Ritika is having around 5+ years of total experience, and currently she is working as a technical manager at one of the MNC company in India. She is having very good knowledge in RPA digital transformation. She explored many things in the digital transformation, and even she has her own YouTube channel creating very new content in the digital transformation journey. So I will put her YouTube channel in the below link. So let's us welcome Ritika and let's discuss on this topic. Hey, hi Ritika.
Thank you, Nikhilesh, for inviting me and giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Ritika. Thanks for your accepting this and discussing something about our industry. So, Ritika, so I will quickly jump into our discussion. So, just tell me, what is a manager and what is different types of managers in industry we have and what they are doing in RPA or what are the what I said like mites industry is having. So can you please elaborate it?
Yeah, sure, Nikhilesh. So this is a very common and very interesting topic, I would say, in today's reality IT sector where we are using RPA. So when comparing a generic manager with the RPA, of course, some skill sets do remain same. That is of managerial qualifications and the qualities any of a manager holds. So that still remains same. But I would say that there is something additional which has to be there into the resource when we talk about the RPA manager. So of course, when you let's take it in a practical way. So if you talk about any business, so if you don't have a core idea of what actually business, how does that business happens, you won't be a very good at that business, right? So having that at least a basic skill sets, not doing the development, fine. You are not expected to go on the field and do development or using the RPA tool, but having a basic knowledge of RPA, how it works, how things works, what are few complexities and challenges you can face in the actual scenarios. That's always a plus, and that is what is actually needed as a RPA manager. Because I'll tell you a few points in English why it is that important. One, you should know how to manage the client. Managing a client is fine, but when talking about a RPA project, you are approaching a client, you're approaching for a project, or you are going to initiate a project. First of all, you need to identify the project, whether it's the feasibility test or the complexity test. Accordingly, if you know about the RPA and the tool you're going to use, you can define in your brain had itself in the background that what is the complexity of the process, what kind of resources you would require going ahead, and then at least in talking in mind and then thinking about quickly making a decision whether it can be you what kind of commitment you can have with the client. So that's a win-win if you have a RPA knowledge, versus if you don't have RPA knowledge as a RPA manager and you go ahead, then you will not be in a situation of committing to the client and giving that confidence at the initial level. So that's the very important thing. The other important thing which comes knowing as a manager and interacting with the developers, I would say, it's always that you know what kind of challenges your employees, your I would say your colleagues or your people whom you are working with are going to face, and at least you will be a bit beneficial and supportive to them comparatively, when compared to, because you will be only aligning as a manager with some resources if they find a difficulty, but you'll not be the actual problem solver there. So that's another win-win, I would say. So in the current situation, as my thought process says, RPA manager should have a managerial skill sets, but having an RPA knowledge is always a plus and a win situation.
Got it. Got it. Completely understood. So we will discuss in deep. For example, in the industry or in RPA journey, so what kind of RPA managers are there? For example, if we say technical manager, techno-functional manager. So what kind of managers are there in your RPA industry? It may vary from the company to company. Can
True.
you tell please about that?
Yeah, of course. So I would say when 5 year down the line, when actually RPA came into boom and people started to recognize what it is and how it is going to be useful, at that time, even the resources who started with RPA didn't have much of knowledge onto the RPA domain, and so did the managers. So at that initial point, being a supportive manager, like I got a supportive manager who was very encouraging for them, at least for the colleagues working alongside, and then finding or the actual project which is relevant for the RP or not, and learning alongside with the resources. So that was the initial trend where the normal any manager role person came into the picture, because of course RP was not uh, that widely spread. So at the initiation started with very basic level of it, but now when we talk about the current situation, market has grown quite a bit. In the RP terms, clients are very educated with RPA. You cannot just go there and have a basic discussion about RPA. Everything has grown in a very fast-paced way. So it's a very important that when you talk about the RPA manager, techno-functional, it's a techno-functional role now. It's not completely a functional role as of now. So of course, from my aspect and my experience, I would say a techno-functional person who is having a managerial skill set is a actual person who can best fit into the RPA managerial role.
Got it. Thanks for that. And see, when you're talking about the skill set and all, so what kind of skill set these people is already having, or what kind of skill set should actually have it when we are implementing some RPA implement, as you are already line one point. So can you please elaborate like what kind of actual skill set is required and what we are having in the industry?
Okay, yeah, sure. So when we talk about a manager, the very basic experience and expertise required is, of course, the managerial expertise, how you're going to manage your client, your resources, and the things at background. So that's the very basic thing, and which is, of course, a very important role and skill set to play into this role. Uh, Again, talking about the other skill sets apart from the RP, because I don't want to talk much about the managerial role that is widely known throughout industry, what is the actual managerial role about. But talking about the RP manager, specific RP manager, knowing the knowledge of what kind of domain you're working on to, what kind of client you are holding. So that's the very basic role, knowing about what is the actual background you're going to work on to. That's the one specific functional point of role uh, a manager is expected to have, because then only you can convince the clients if a re-engineering is required or not. If you don't know about the how the process actually works, you are not going to give them suggestions about improving their process and how the same is going to benefit them when implementing RPA. Let me take it this way. When we talk about implementing RPA, it can be done in two ways. One is that you understand the process, how the current process works, how the analysts currently work, going it and implementing it as it is, without restructuring or without suggesting any changes. You're just going and doing it in the same old fashioned way. So of course your things will get done, your bot is ready, things will get performed. But when you know about the process, when you know about how the things could change and will not impact the actual functioning of the process, output is going to remain same. When you standardize the process, when you suggest some of the re-engineering factors into the process, and you suggest a client if this could be implemented or not, basis their decision, you can change of the way of processing, and your coding what could be developed in similar way. Now if I say after re-engineering, before re-engineering the process used to take 7 minutes to complete the entire end-to-end processing, but after re-engineering even my 2 minutes are saved in one case. That's a very big margin when compared to end-to-end code. So let's take it in an example way, or where I say that if I say that we have to do certain uh, for example, say we have to go on a website, we have to download a report and download a report. Post that, we have to navigate and search. Some analysts do few bird eye view checks there. So in that scenario, what happens is that it usually takes time. But when we know that it's a system generated thing and it's not going to change or not, it will not have a default factor, we can suggest the client that when the bot is performing that action, there is minimal or negligible chances of making an error. So that bird eye view and revisiting of these cases just to verify whether the processing has been done correctly or not can be eliminated. That part can be skipped by the bot, and now bot is just going to the website, performing its work and just finishing that work. So that's one very good classic example where we can convince the client, considering that it's a machine which is working and not a human. So of course human error can be removed, and that part can be eliminated to improvise your process and gain the better AHT of the entire process. So that's very good classic example, and that comes with your functional knowledge as well as the way thought process your works with the each and every delivery of the project. So that's a very important role. And the third thing which I always talk about whenever the RPA manager is being communicated about is a technical role, which comes into picture, considering that you cannot commit a client and then go back after talking to your solution architect and saying that, oh my, okay, I've committed this, but I got to know that this cannot be achieved in this simple manner. So that's a very classic example where some clients get fuzzy about that. Okay, first you committed me this, but now you are going back onto it. And that's create a bad impression and even a resistance inside the client, considering they don't want to implement RPA because they don't know how is it going to be basis your confidence, what kind of confidence you are giving to the client. So where there your instant technical perception comes into picture. So that is why I always say that having a technical skill set is always a plus plus into the RPA managerial role.
Got it. And so when we are talking about the roles and responsibilities, see, the manager is not limited to do this role or this kind of activity, right? So what are the roles and responsibilities do a manager do in the RPA journey? And not, I think it is not limited to. So can you please elaborate which stage he will be assigning and what he is going to do?
Yeah, that's a very tricky question indeed. And it's a very entitled question, I would say, considering that roles and responsibilities differ variedly going ahead in different organizations. It's not the same always. Talking about manager, the very important thing which I see is that always there is a hierarchy of resources and the bandwidth the skill sets you are going to have within your project, be it be your solution architect, be it be your BA, be it be your developers. You need to have that confidence built inside your tree, or I would say inside the project level, whatever you are the project manager at. And having that confidence built, you can rely on those resources. So that is somewhere where project managers skip few of the responsibilities because they rely and they I would say they believe in their resources and they know that the outcome coming is going to be as he's expecting. But talking about the actual roles and responsibility of the project manager, very important thing is the client handling, how you're handling the client. Everything rest can be done by your resources. Like your technical architect can develop a very good solution for you. BA can have a very good client interaction at the functional level, can help you a lot, re-engineering your process, getting your process documented, and doing the all kind of testing required for the before the client introduction to the robot. So, and then your developers, of course, who is going to build your bot is also very important and a pivotal role they play into your entire delivery of the project. But managing your resources and clients is a very important role, which any RP manager does. Reviewing all the process, that whatever you are relying on to your resources are being done in the exact same manner. I'm not talking about doubting onto your sources, just making a proper audit just in case that you don't have to resist or get hesitant about the scenarios going ahead. If a client asks you for certain XYZ reports or documents, you should have things handy and you should know how things are going to process. When it should not be like that. If client is approaching me, I'm going to call some other resource of mine to help me that what was going on here. So knowing about each and every steps of the process, how the things are going into the project, everything, what is the RAG status, is there anything which is worrisome or may delay my project getting click onto it, and how can I route my resources onto the right track to whom they can connect with, how we can resolve this issue as a team. So that's a very important role a manager plays. Documentation is again one thing which RP managers can do, but that is something which has been segregated very properly inside the RPA bracket, that BA would be doing the PDD, tech arc would be doing the SDD with the help of developers. So documents are being segregated. Somewhere that role is still with the where the BA is itself acting as a project manager. There the documentation is also part of a project manager, but being a project manager, keeping an eye and seeing that everything is going well paced, what detecting that whichever thing which is going to impact your process delivery and getting it on track is again that is the main role and responsibility. And of course that tops up with the commitment of the what kind of commitment you have given to client, and fulfilling that commitment is the actual roles and responsibility of the manager.
And next, if you see there in a manager role as well. Definitely, there will be lots of challenges in the complete RPA journey, right? So, can you please elaborate like what kind of high level or the challenges may be coming and how these managers will tackle it? Because he is the only one-stop destination for solving all these problems, and we need to address the customers right away. So, what kind of challenges you face and how you address that?
True. So I'll like to take it with the help of an example, because being a manager is not only that you are committed to client, but very first you are dedicated to your resources. You are the one where your resources rely on to. So I'll tell you a very classic example where what happened, that we were delivering a bot, and then there was a commitment. There I was not a manager. I would first like to say that I was not a manager. There was some different manager of mine, and it was an experience which I gained at my initial levels. So what happened that the management, the BAs, they did the initial assessment, and being from the tech arc as well, they all came into a pace, and they decided and they committed to the client that your AHT is going to be reduced at certain level. Say 50% of AHT will get reduced, and we'll be delivering this bot in this XYZ time frame. We did a good assessment at initial level, and then we found that the application which we were going to develop was having quite a lot of latency onto it. So every time we used to do, we used to move from one page to another to capture the things, that sometimes the page used to go white, sometimes it doesn't loads properly, and there were so many latency issues being faced onto that application. Now, when we went back, because we're not directly interacting with the client, we are interacting with the analyst. And when you're working onto the system, generally as a manual, as a human, we ignore these kind of things when working proper on a system normally. But bot has to be very, whatever feed we are giving to the bot has to be very precise. If we are saying that the page will load in 30 seconds, but if it takes 31 seconds, your solution will fail in that scenario. So you have to be very conscious about it, how the things are going to happen. If I know that this page is having a latency, I need to refresh it 2 to 3 times. So that kind of observations came once we were delivering when we were developing the bot actually. We had the discussion with TechArc. We tried to find all the resolutions we could, but finally we got to know that resources were also facing the issue, but it was not communicated in the way at the initial level, because those were something which was being ignored by the analyst when doing manually, and that was not coming into the picture quite a while. And at end of the delivery, when we were at almost at the verge of delivering the project, all the clients had a demo, and then they came up with this point that you talked about reducing the latency to 50%, but your bot is near about even more, it's taking even more time sometimes. So then convincing the client, there came the role of a manager, actual manager, and taking a place and convincing the client, keeping the confidence level of their resources as well, because their resources are not creating problem. Solution is very good, but is the problem of an application. And then there it came, that convincing the client, getting them onto the page and onto the same page, I would say that it's actually the application issue, not the bot issue or the solution issue. Solution is defined very well, and getting the project delivered. So that's the where I really admired that manager. And then I got to understand the actual importance, how the things are going to be tackled at higher level. And that was one inspirational thing which I came across in my RPA journey. So that would have answered your question.
Yeah, that's really good. How we need to tackle the customer. So when we are talking about the development, for example, all the managers or all the who is managing the journey of RPA, they will not develop the bots, right? But
Right, true.
but how they want to be cautious about the development, or what kind of things they should at least know. Can you please elaborate it? Because many RPA managers are there, they are not aware of the complete set of development.
True, of course. So, of course, that is a very true statement, I would say, considering that having a managerial role and having the developer, that's the two different things. Many of the developer will not have interest into the managerial role, and same implies vice versa. So, but knowing a bit about development is something they can have for their expertise, their experience, and uh, I would say going on to the deep dive is not required, but knowing what's the industry practice, how the things are going. For example, the best practices followed down the industry. For example, say variabilization of the your variables name, and then what kind of feed you are passing to the bot. Nothing should be hard coded there, because that's the data privacy you need to maintain, and making your solution dynamic. So these kind of logical skill set is very important. uh, Technical skill set is also in RPA. You would agree with me that it's not about having core technical skill sets. It's about how logically you can develop your solution. So, and of course, managers should have a logical skill sets, because when you, as a resource, you have say ABC, three options and three ways of handling things. With your skill sets and as a manager and with the expertise of a manager, he may suggest XYZ steps as well. You can do this way rather than this will improve your solution, or this is the industry practice which is being followed overall. We should also adhere with the industry policies and practices. So that is where a bit of knowing about the RP solution is very important and is very helpful. Considering nothing should be hard coded in the solution, and of course, which I talked about, dynamic, making a solution dynamic, that if in case today a client wants to deploy two bot, and going ahead basis the volume, your bot capacity or deployment of bot needs to get increased. Knowing and at least asking your solution architect that we should adhere with making our scalable bots, that without changing much of the code, our bot should be scalable for the client. So that is where some skill sets comes into picture. But of course, doing the hard code development is not required from the manager aspect.
And
There are many
adding
good developers for this role.
yeah, and adding to that, like I would like to bring one more point. Like, for example, if the team is working for a UiPath project, at least the manager should always know like what is UiPath, what is robot, what is orchestrator, what is a studio, what is Studio X, and triggers, jobs, schedulers, and what how they are deploying the project, and if the bot is failing, what the SA is giving some solution. So this kind of skill also, at least he should know when customer is asking why this bot is failed. So yeah, he should at least able to talk to the solution team and ask and explain back to the customer, right?
Indeed. And I would just like to add one point here, that knowing about what is really in the industry now, what all new innovations UiPath is, or be it be any tool, I would say, is coming up with. Because clients are very smart nowadays. They have so many people who are actually working along with and are very curious about these kind of technologies. They always keep themselves updated about it. And being an RPA manager, you have to be very updated onto all these things in parallel, because you never know what kind of questions promptly a client can come up with. So you can't just go blank there, right? You cannot sound dumb because you're representing your manager, you are knowing how you are handling everything there. So that is also a very important thing, which I think that any manager or be solution architect and even the developers should be always in a pace. This is very fast changing scenario things happening nowadays in the RPA world. So
Yeah. So
being in
that
the
is my
pace is very
next.
important.
Yeah, that is my next question. But you covered it. Like, uh,
Okay,
does this managers should follow the current trends in the market,
of
because
course.
we are seeing hyper automations, intelligent automation, many things, even
Exactly.
digital transformation, many things are coming. So if the manager is dumb and no, and the customer is coming with some other new concept like document understanding and all, then he should able to know okay, what is this and
What the
is they
customer is
having.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, of course.
Even
That is very important.
he will only propose, right? Yeah, we can do this solution. We have document understanding.
Exactly.
We
Yeah,
we
that's what
have.
I covered earlier, that you cannot call your resources every time and ask that, okay, client is asking me this, what should I answer? No, you're not there for that. You should have all these knowledge, because yeah, of course it sounds very dumb when you don't know, and client will lose that confidence from onto you and your project if you don't have that knowledge.
Like another non-technical question for a manager. For example, see, manager means he's a relationship guy. He should be having each developer, solution architect, testing thing, whatever. So, what is your experience or the insights you would give for a manager or the upcoming manager? What kind of relationships he should be managed, or he should have definitely have it to give our work productive?
Exactly, and that's a very interesting question indeed, Niklesh. Thanks for bringing it up. uh, there's a very classic saying that whenever a resource goes out of the organization, it's hardly about work, but first from the aspect of a manager, what kind of manager or the team he's working on to. So if you are having a very good manager and a very good team, you will just think twice or thrice before leaving that organization or that project. You'll have that certain attachment to it, the way you spend time, the way your manager support. Because when the earlier example which I was talking about, so there manager could be there could have been a manager which would have just gone snuffy and would have said that, okay, no, I have committed to client, you, I don't know, you have to deliver this project within you have to reduce the AHT to this number or something. But no, there were the support of manager came. He was having that skill set, he was having that knowledge, he was wise enough to understand the resources and trust onto the resources, that when your resources are saying, they must have tried a number of scenarios, they must have tried in all their best possible ways, and then only they are coming up with manager. They're not making an excuse. So that's a very kind of confidence you should have in your on your resources. And when you show it that confidence on your resources, they give back that same confidence. When you are in a trouble, say if being a manager, I have supported my resources, say for example, and when I have committed to client that, okay, I'll deliver your project for my, say sake of my reputation of the organization or something, I've committed a project to deliver in 2 or 3 weeks. Now those are the developers and the people whom we somewhere I have supported will come up into the support and will say, don't worry, we are there, we will do it for you. So that is kind of thing which comes up. And also a very important thing which I personally believe is that minute, that management is not at all required in this industry. People are wise enough, they know their responsibilities. It's hardly 1% or 2% of resource who ignore their responsibilities, who don't want to work or show laziness, but mostly who are very conscious about their career and growth and learning, and have a supportive team will always show up with their skill sets and knowledge and support with your team. So of course having a good relation with your team is always help build and increase and grow your team, for your team members and of course for the manager as well. So that's the very important thing. And for the next question which you asked for the upcoming managers, I would say is that technical skills people can build over the time. They can learn, they can grow, but having this managerial and building a good connect with your colleagues is very important. That is something you need to build over a time. You will not be, you can be very good technical resource, but you don't have that nature and how to sustain in a group, you will always be discarded or you'll always be outlooked about the things, because at the end everything comes as a whole package. You cannot use just UiPath. People will not always use just one package of UiPath, right? It will always like to have an entire tool, entire package altogether to deliver the project. And that is what it goes like.
That's really good. And like, see, I would like to bring one scenario and how the manager should handle. For example, there is a process which been identified, development is also done, and in the testing phase, or it might be a demo. There we in a daily RPA life, we see there may be many demos failing in front of customer because it might be in
Exactly.
the
That's a
application
very common
issue,
scenario.
very common scenario. At that time, how he should actually handle his team and even the customer. So I feel like there should be not a blame game with only the technical team. And
Of
what about
course.
your experience, and can you share it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's a very common scenario, Niklesh, like I said. Uh, if you ask any of the developer, tech arc, or the manager, this is very common thing you will get to hear that, okay, whenever we run the bot at back, it runs very smooth, nothing happens. But when we run it in front of client, it always fails. So that is something, I don't know what curse RPA comes up with, the bot comes up with, but that is something it always shows up, be it be any tool, any RPA tool. So that's my experience. But when talking about the manager and getting prepared, because we should not feel embarrassed in front of client because we have committed something, and when we are showing them in front and what fails, it leaves a very bad impression. They think that they don't know what is going in background. They are non-technical people, they have believed in your commitment, and when they comes up with a demo, they have a very high expectations about it, that okay, things will happen this way or this way, and when just what breaks, it somewhere shatters that confidence level. uh, and talking about the RPA manager at that scenario, instead of playing the blame game or something XYZ, I usually want to be pre-prepared about it. I know it is a very common scenario. It happens. So what I suggest my team is always prepare a bot before the run. Always prepare a demo video about it, running video, just in case, because we know whenever we go onto a Zoom call or any call, say when you're sharing your screen, always there is a latency which comes up. Your network fluctuates, bandwidths are getting consumed. So that is a very technical reason why bot sometimes not perform the way it has to perform. And if latency comes and your bot is pretended or set in this way, it may fail. Network error comes, your bot will fail because it is working on network, right? So that is something very common thing. Your client may not understand, but being in this field, you should have that at least knowledge. And getting prepared with a video is always a win-win or plus situation, where if you, in case your bot fails, or say your system is not ready, or sometimes in this work from home scenario where network issue is always a very big problem, because of this weather change or maybe any reason, uh, if your video is ready, at least you can play them in front of client. You can give that confidence that okay, your bot was working absolutely fine. This is the reason, because of some network issue or something, what has failed in front of you, but we have this running video to give you the confidence that whatever we have committed is getting delivered. And if it runs in a system, we can see it another time, or maybe next time if you want, we can reschedule the call to show you the actual working of the bot. So this is how you need to be very prepared about what you are and how you're going to approach the client, how you're going to show the demo. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful example, and even you have given the suggestion. Many people may not doing this recording the demo video before the demo, so which will
Right.
eradicate the issue which is having. So that's really wonderful suggestion you give. And one more scenario I would like to give. For example, we have committed for 5 weeks of development, and we are not able to do this in. I mean, the development team is not able to do in these 5 weeks. Like how we can sort it out with the customer, how again the manager comes into picture, and how we will solve this issue.
Okay. So it should not be said, but being a manager, they always keep a buffer into their hand. So that's a very tricky thing which a manager should and ideally plays into this industry, because of course any reason can come up and can delay your project. But being a manager, that is a skill set where it actually shows your skill sets, that how efficient you are to get your project delivered within the committed timelines. uh, I would say this only happens when you are not interacting with your solution architect or developer in a timely manner. If you are having a say not even a bi-weekly, weekly call with your team, what is going on in the team? Is there any issue, any concern, anything which is which may impact my project delivery? For example, say I have two applications to work on, and my developer says that okay, I'll get started with one, and then post that I'll pick up the next application to get automated with. Uh, from the project manager aspect, I need to be sure that before the time my developer is set to develop the another application, all accesses are resolved. It should not happen that okay, first part of development is done, but the second application developer still not have access. We cannot lose a week or two just waiting for the access issues, resolving the application issues or something likewise. So just thinking in a very planned way, what all are the dependencies onto your project, how you're going to handle it, what is the time frame dividing each and every you have, because a developer gives the techa gives you a development plan for the project. You know what solution, what part of solution is going to be built, developed in what time frame. Is there any dependency which is prior dependency onto that particular module to get developed? If I know that, as a manager or the one whom I'm giving the responsibility, we should be very careful about that. Those prerequisites are always delivered before the developer is going to start that particular solution. Now that's one aspect where your access and everything happens. The other aspect could be that say once the development has started, for example, your solution complexity gets increased. That usually happens when we do initial assessment of the project, and when we identify that it's not going to be that tricky, we draft it and we send it across basis the complexity metrics we have carved out of the process assessment. But when we interact with the analyst in day-to-day frame, when we are developing a certain part of solution, and then the analyst comes up with another business rule, okay, this should not happen this way, it rather should happen this way. So that is something very very important thing which a manager should firmly say that okay, this is a CR. It was not a part of project. I cannot uh, count it in the time frame of the project which I have committed, because I have committed for 10 steps of development, right? 10 steps of process which I have committed. But when you come to me and you say that there are two more steps you need to add, so just take a break there. Okay, we will the developer would require 2 weeks, that additional time frame to develop that two steps, be it be a 1 day or 2 day. So we need to call it very confidently in front of client, and we need to convince them that okay, there is a human who is building the solution. There's no bot sitting behind that we can junk them and we can say that okay, now you have to work 15 hours 18 hours to deliver this project. No, that is not a good thing, neither for you nor for your uh, junior, your not for your team, I would say, and not for the client, because it builds a false expectations. Every time that client will come, once you just agree on to their terms, even if you are doing the next project, they will come up with the same expectations that okay, I'll give you the CR, I'll bulk you with the CR at the time of development, and you're going to develop it. So that is the main reason which I have observed in the industry, where the time frames are getting missed. And the third and very rarest one are where the actually developers are not able to meet the solution timeline. And in that scenario, of course, most reason which I have seen, the major reason is that they have a quite same thought and same thing to say, that there is no support system from the technical purview. If they get stuck in this XYZ step, technical architect should be there to assist them, or a senior resource should be there to assist them in just in case they are getting stuck in any technical point. So there can be scenarios that a junior developer is being there in the part with the assistance of a senior developer to develop the project. Either that senior developer should always be there to assist that junior developer, or a tech arc. So this responsibility has to be very confined, and your developer should also be told and conveyed very clearly that if in case you don't get that support, reach out directly to your managers. Just don't wait for it, because then coming up at the end and saying that this XYZ reason, because of this tech arc or because of the senior developer not supporting me, I cannot deliver the project, is not acceptable. So there everyone needs to be very responsible about it.
Yeah, really, 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 really good. We have covered everything for one floor.
Mm.
I think,
Just trying to cover everything and helping everyone.
yeah, yeah. I think we have covered everything, like whatever we want in the, the skill set, exception, skill, whatever extra. We have covered everything. So I think we are good with this. So I would like to say thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for educating your community and bringing lots of insights. And even I would like to congratulate, like you have started your own YouTube channel and creating lots of good content over there. I have even watched the videos, so it's really good. Please continue it and please share the knowledge. Thank you so much, Indra. Thank you so much for your time.
Sure. Thank you so much, Niklesh, for having me here. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye.